let's move on to top 5 Premier League midfielders currently playing in the league. I'm going to reel off some names and we can go through. Of course, Kevin De Bruyne's in there, Bernardo Silva, Rodri, Odegaard, Declan Rice, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Caicedo, McAllister, Enzo Fernandez, Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali, and of course, João Paulinho, who might be going to West Ham. I've got my 5.
I've got my list. I've done this. Like, is this... If our producer, dear Jack, is hoping that this is going to be some sort of enthralling clip that people can like wade into, he's going to be very disappointed, because I'm going to just spoil it entirely because I've just done the right answer. There is a right and wrong to this.
I think we might debate a couple.
We won't debate anything.
I think we're largely agreed.
I have just got this totally and utterly correct. There is no negotiation. And there are certain people on the list who, I mean, you can put them on the list out of kindness if you want, and because they play in that position. But whatever spin you want to put on it, Alexis McAllister isn't the top 5 midfielders in the league. Like, you know, you've read him out.
Or Caicedo. Like that.
Also, João Paulinho. You know, he just isn't, and it's nice to put them on there. Sandro Tonali, who I rate, and I think it's an amazing signing, ain't kicked a ball in the Premier League, so he's not on it.
Not yet.
So this becomes very easy, very quickly, in my opinion.
Okay. Do you want to go first? Number 5?
Oh, we're doing reverse. Oh, hang on. Let me just open up my application where I can
go first if we want to speed things along. Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle, number 5 for me. I think this guy could play for any top club in the world. I think he'd start for Real Madrid tomorrow, for Man City tomorrow. I think he's world class, and it reminds me of the Tevez situation at Man City when Tevez joined. He was still playing with the likes of Stephen Ireland and Sean Wright-Phillips, with all due respect, and he dragged us into European football, dragged us into winning the FA Cup. And I think Bruno Guimaraes is the start of something special.
I completely agree with your entire assessment. And if we were asked to do maybe a top 6 or 7, he would have been in my list. He misses out on my list. He doesn't quite make it. The 5th best midfielder in the league for me is Declan Rice.
He's not even better than Partey.
Declan Rice?
He's not better than Partey right now. As of today, July the 17th.
As of today, he's better than Partey.
He's not better than Partey.
Listen, I'm a big defender of Partey. I think he's a very good player, and I think people have snide about Partey. He went off the boil when it most mattered. But over the course of the season, he was brilliant. Early in the season,
but he went off the boil in the context that he got Arsenal to being top of the table. He was the best defensive midfielder for at least 6 months last season. That's my opinion.
No, I think he was very good. He wasn't the best defensive midfielder in the league.
If you fire a ball into Declan Rice, right, you fire a ball into his feet, he's got to turn around someone like Rodri pressing him. We don't know about Declan Rice yet. He's not done at the highest level.
Declan Rice is a better player than Partey overall. There's far more to his game. I like Partey. I rate him very highly. And I think I've been on various YouTube videos where I've been saying that, you know, Partey, I got quite a lot of grief when I said Partey was better player than Casemiro. What I'm saying though is overall, in terms of if you look at the season and you take it as a whole, he had a very good start to the season. He was brilliant. But when it most mattered, and this is what being a top tier footballer is, it's shining when it is most difficult to. It's turning up when it most matters. When it really mattered, when Arsenal desperately needed Thomas Partey, he wasn't there. When Declan Rice was needed by West Ham, he shone.
He didn't shine in the final. He wasn't very good in the final. This is the Conference League. With all, I'm not trying to.
No.
People at home will be saying, "Oh, he doesn't like it because he didn't join Man City." I love Declan Rice. We're both England fans. What he's done for England is important. He's a balanced level, quality. He's borderline Champions League quality. But as of today, Thomas Partey got Arsenal to top of the Premier League table for 247 days, and he did bottle a couple of moments. He bottled the moment against Declan Rice at the Olympic Stadium. I get that 1,000,000%. But as of today, Partey could perform for Arsenal against Bayern Munich or Real Madrid in the Champions League. We don't know about Declan Rice. We don't know.
Yes, we do.
Now, in a year, it might change.
We've seen Declan Rice at international level. We've seen Declan Rice at international level doing that. Played very well against France.
He did. That's true. I can't say that's not true. Yeah, it is true.
And the other thing is, it's all very well for you to say, you know, Partey's done this and that. And I would say that Declan Rice, in terms of getting West Ham to that final, do you remember the goal? Do you remember the goal that Declan Rice scored against Ghent? Buvey picked the ball up in his own half.
Oh, he runs with it.
Runs with it, twists in, twists out, twists in, pings it in with his left foot.
What club?
Take West Ham, hang on, is it? But Thomas Partey hasn't done that against anyone. Thomas Partey hasn't done that.
He scored some worldies last season.
Thomas Partey hasn't done that against anyone.
He scored some worldies in the league. I think if you perform...
What, he's run from his own half with the ball
if we're having a debate, Rory, if we're having a debate about two defensive midfielders, I love Declan Rice. He's done it against Ghent in the Europa Conference League. You know, Thomas Partey scored these kind of goals in the Premier League, long-range efforts and linking up play at the highest level.
Hang on, they're two different kinds of goals.
Their Premier League campaign to come second is far more significant than West Ham's win.
Absolutely
in terms of the standard of play.
Absolutely not.
Of course it is.
It's not more significant.
No, it's
not
less
significant.
Not symbolic. It's not a trophy coming second. But the standard that Arsenal were putting out is obviously a much higher standard than West Ham.
You're talking about pingers. I'm not talking about pingers. Declan Rice scored an unbelievable pinger against Forest at the London Stadium.
Right, yeah.
So he has the pinger in the locker.
Of course he does. Oh, yeah.
He has the pinger.
Yeah.
I'm talking about dragging his team in the quarter-final of a European competition, dragging his team to a victory on the night, a victory that maybe they didn't deserve.
No, you're right.
He's run he's picked the ball up in his own half, run at driven into the heart of the Ghent defence, twist in, twist out, left foot, goal.
Yes.
Like that's proper.
That's not denying that he can't score fantastic goals and he's at a very, very high level. I put him 6th or 7th. But for me, Partey, on a footballing level right now, what you're saying might be bang on. He might be so good that in 3 months, suddenly he's so much better than Partey ever was. So you're bang on. But right now, we've never seen Rice at club level perform. Look, and that's West Ham's. That's not West Ham's fault. West Ham's got Kufau at right back. It's not their fault. Not everyone can be Arsenal.
Against Partey and Xhaka and Odegaard. Rice won that midfield battle to stop Arsenal winning the league.
That is true, but that's one game. All I'm trying to say is,
but it's one game.
On a sporting level, Partey's level is higher than Rice. On a sporting level, right now, he's a better defensive midfielder. He's played at Atletico Madrid Champions League level.
Out to the comments. I really disagree with you, mate. I can't concede any ground. Usually I do my best to be gentlemanly and go, mate. Yeah, okay, let's agree. You're correct, or we'll agree to this. I just can't agree. I just can't, mate. I'm sorry. I just can't. Who have you got as 4th?
Casemiro for me. Partey's not in my top 5 either, by the way, so I'm not trying to say that. So, yeah, Casemiro helped them win the League Cup. I think he's the one player that I look at Casemiro playing for Man United and think, wow, if Fergie was around, he would have had him in his side. You know, he's a Fergie player. He's everything right about Man United. He's everything right about Real Madrid, winning multiple Champions Leagues. He's a leader. He's so good on the ball. I didn't know how good he was on the ball. So he has to be in the top 5 for me. Is he in your top 5?
No.
Wow.
No. My 4th is Bruno Fernandes. So I've gone Manchester United.
One of them, yeah.
I've gone Manchester United. I think Bruno Fernandes is overall a better. They're very different players. But in terms of what Bruno Fernandes brings to a team, in terms of what he does for that Manchester United team, I think he is absolutely sensational. I really do. And I think because he is disliked, because people don't like the way that he plays the game, because people don't like his petulant nature, I think people are a bit snide because they don't like his face.
Who he is, yeah.
They don't like him.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily acknowledge the brilliance with which he plays virtually week in, week out. They focus on the negative.
Really? Week in, week out last season.
He had a fantastic season last year. And you know how you queried that? It's interesting, isn't it? Because he had as good a season individually as Martin Odegaard. And yet people will always acknowledge that Odegaard had a great season, and they won't acknowledge that Bruno Fernandes had a comparably good season.
But sometimes there's knowledge in the crowd. You know, the crowd you can kind of get a general sense of what the overview is because of a common understanding of something. Odegaard did have a better season than Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, maybe that's true. Maybe that's true in terms of the levels. But what I'm saying is, Bruno Fernandes had a comparatively good season.
Yeah, fine. I see that. Yeah,
but the general consensus of people probably watching this video who will be cutting me down.
Yeah.
The general consensus will be Odegaard was fantastic and Bruno Fernandes is an arse. That's how it's seen. Whereas I think Bruno Fernandes is like top class. I think he should be the next Manchester United captain. I think...
Really?
Absolutely.
Is that a role model you want? I'm taking my City hat off. I'm not saying about his... Look, the argument you've given is valid in terms of maybe the numbers, the kind of... the statistics behind it. The geezer rolls around. He's diving. He cries at other teammates. He's not a leader.
He's a winner.
If I was... No, he's not a winner.
He's a winner.
What's he won? What's he won?
No, but what's Harry... I'd say Harry Kane is a winner.
I wouldn't.
But he is. Harry Kane is a winning footballer. He just hasn't won anything. Bruno Fernandes is a winner. He's just been at Manchester United rather than Man City.
That's true. That is true. Of course it is. But
Bruno Fernandes is a winner. His will to win is so consuming for him that it makes him act in ways that I imagine that at times when he's being rational and off the pitch, he wouldn't be proud of.
he's borderline unethical when the way he acts. He's borderline. He shouldn't be acting the way he is at all.
Yeah, but
There's a difference between being wily and being Bruno Fernandes. He's almost a cheat. He's the biggest diver I've ever seen. He's the biggest diver in Premier League football right as of today. He's the biggest diver. He is. He simulates fouls more than anyone else. He's the softest. If he was the captain of Man United, I wouldn't be able to go to sleep at night if I was a Man United fan.
I mean, I'd get
He's everything not Man United.
I'd get set to have some sleepless nights. Then you're about to become. You're about to have what's it?
Do you know what I mean? Vincent Kompany's my captain. Steven Gerrard's my captain.
But there are
Bruno Fernandes.
Hold on, Steven Gerrard exhibits a lot of the qualities that you're disliking Bruno Fernandes for.
What, rolling
Steven
around?
Gerrard was filth.
Rolling around?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't necessarily a diver, but he was a filthy player, and I think he was a great player.
Yeah.
I think Steven Gerrard is one of the best that the Premier League's ever seen. But I think you can also be a snide, brilliant player. I think a lot of the best players are. I think Dennis Bergkamp was a filthy footballer, but one of the best that we'd ever seen.
But I think Bruno takes it too far. That's just my opinion. I think he's just takes it a little bit too far.
I think Bruno Fernandes is. I think he's an elite footballer.
Yeah.
Like a truly elite footballer. I think he's one of the best players at Manchester United. I think he's irreplaceable in their team. You know, if somebody else is injured.
Of course he is, yeah.
So I've gone Bruno Fernandes next. That won't be a popular choice.
That's number 3 for you. So number 3 for me is
4 for me, sorry.
Sorry, number 4 for you. I put in Casemiro number 4, yeah. So number 3 for me is actually a player, obviously his international compatriot for Portugal, Bernardo Silva, who is a very similar, all the qualities you said about Bruno Fernandes, you can levy at Bernardo Silva, and he does it in the right way. He does it in the right fashion, and he has quality on top. All the qualities you say about Bruno Fernandes, well, I've not seen him do it in the Champions League. I've not seen him do it against the Real Madrid, the Bayern Munich. Bernardo Silva certainly has. And he's being played out of position. That's how good he is. So for me, Bernardo Silva has to be in this list somewhere, and he's number 3 for me.
He's in my list, but he's not number 3. Bernardo Silva is in my list.
Yeah.
So I'll talk about him. 3rd in my list is Rodri.
Yeah, I think it depends.
Is he in your list?
Oh, yeah, of course he is. Yeah. Rodri is the best defensive midfielder in world football.
So my 3rd is Rodri. Yeah. And, I mean, what can we say? You just run out of superlatives for him, don't you? Like, he's amazing at everything. He is the perfect midfielder. He has everything that you need in that position. It was a snip that they got him for. Pep Guardiola has created something incredible with him. He's added goals to his game. Big goals as well when it really matters. On his left foot. Big goals.
Into Milan, Champions League winning.
Do you remember the previous season? Was it Arsenal?
Arsenal last minute.
Late.
And he dives in front of the crowd. Yeah, we were awful.
Yeah, but you beat Arsenal because he scored the winner. He's your defensive midfielder. I think Rodri, it sounds crazy, I know, to say this, and he isn't there yet. But he is one of the players that are playing at the moment where you go, is he going to be the best in his position when he retires? You know when you think about players that are playing now, it's very difficult to give them this sort of cachet. But I'm thinking that you know whoever you see as the very best in that position. Maybe N'Golo Kante, he played it in a slightly different way, but maybe Kante, maybe Claude Makelele. I think Rodri is capable, at least, of challenging those two. I don't think he'll ever supersede Kante, but equally, I'm not writing him off. I just think he's amazing.
Yeah, I think he's Busquets in Premier League form. Yeah. I think if Busquets ever was able to come to Premier League. But rougher, bigger.
But rougher,
he's built like a centre-half.
Yeah, but rougher.
I put Rodri number 2.
I had Rodri 3. So
your number 2 must be Bernardo Silva.
De Bruyne, I've got 2.
Wow.
I've got De Bruyne 2.
Explain that for me, because that's interesting.
De Bruyne?
Yeah.
I mean, he is a Premier League icon. I think he has managed to achieve the impossible, which is change the conversation from Gerrard Lampard Scholes to Gerrard Lampard Scholes De Bruyne.
Yeah. I
think he's managed to do that. And that was an elite club that you couldn't get into. You couldn't break into that club. You know, there have been some amazing other midfielders, Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira, but they couldn't quite get into that conversation. Not because they weren't good enough, but maybe longevity, whatever. But I think that Kevin De Bruyne has now broken into that category. I think he is now comparable to not only the very best at City, not only the very best in the Premier League era, but actually the very best in this country of all time. That's how good I think Kevin De Bruyne
I think his technical ability is, I've never seen anything like it. Some of his crossing is David Beckham-esque at pace as well in a Guardiola system. His work rate off the ball is underrated. And I feel gutted that a player of the calibre that City see week in, week out, opening defences against a Stoke or a Burnley or a Man United in the league, I feel gutted as a City fan. We've not seen it now in 2 Champions League finals, and that's because of bad luck. That's not his fault, of course.
Do you know what I think about De Bruyne as well? I don't know if the Premier League has ever seen a player who is more genuinely two-footed than Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah.
Has it ever? Can you think of anyone who, like, if you think about the amount of amazing strikes that Kevin De Bruyne has scored with his weaker foot, the one that will always resonate with me, which is when I actually looked into this, is the one that he scored against Arsenal. You know, when he just sort of looped it over the keeper.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Amazing
unbelievable.
goal.
Unbelievable.
Like, what are you doing, mate?
There aren't
what the
many.
hell are you doing?
There aren't many.
But I don't think we've ever had a more genuinely two-footed footballer in the league.
No, he's the most naturally gifted player to ever play for
I
the
reckon
club.
he could take a corner either side. You know, if De Bruyne, if Pep Guardiola went, I want an in-swinger from either side, you'll take it.
He's Ronnie O'Sullivan.
He's Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Yeah,
I agree.
100%.
I agree.
So your number one is Bernardo Silva, I'm guessing?
Correct.
Wow.
Correct.
That's interesting.
This might not be of all time. This might not be looking at De Bruyne's career versus Bernardo Silva's Premier League time. That might not be that. I'm kind of judging it on last season, and I think that Bernardo Silva, he's everything that I want from a footballer and more. He is my dream footballer. There is nothing that he doesn't do on a football pitch that I want him to do. He tries desperately hard. He fights like a man with no skill. He will put all the effort in of somebody who has to put loads of effort in because they haven't got the skill. Then he's a better footballer than anyone else on the pitch. He's better on the ball than you. He fights harder than you. He's tougher than you. He runs further than you. He's got a better strike than you. He's better with both feet than you. Brilliant in the air. The bullet header against Bayern.
Oh, wow.
Like, he is everything that I want from a footballer. Like, everything. And I think I love him a little bit more because he's my height. You know, to play his position and be have that tenacity and that spirit, but also have that end product and that flair. And I just love him. Yeah. I genuinely love him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's everything right about City. Came in, he was kind of an underrated signing a little bit. Came in from Monaco, of course. I think his big issue in terms of how we look as football fans at his legacy will be his positional time at City, because there are points where he wasn't played in midfield. There are points he's being shifted onto the left as a false nine, as a right winger, of course, more commonly this season. There was a period just after Liverpool won the Premier League where we claimed it back. Ilkay Gundogan scored all his goals. But De Bruyne was injured that season, and it was a midfield of Bernardo Silva and Ilkay Gundogan. It was the most consistent time I've seen Bernardo Silva in midfield. And he was everything that you would want in midfield. He's got that pace, he's got that trickery, but he can control a game with one first time touches out of his feet, knocking it around people.
There's nothing he's good at. There's nothing.
He's a total footballer.
He's so unfortunate. It's not obviously not unfortunate to play with De Bruyne. I just think that, you know, sometimes we don't acknowledge the brilliance of certain footballers because maybe they're masked by someone else who gets more
glory. A bit more Hollywood. Yeah, 1,000,000%.
And there could be that going on. You know, we don't necessarily acknowledge quite how good he is. But I just, in terms of the way that I like to see midfield, you know, some people, I think that they get their buzz out of maybe a De Bruyne who can play those passes or can often look, you know, some players who look really sexy on the ball, charisma and all that with the outside of the boot. I love that hurrying, hustling, energetic, aggressive midfielder who then pulls the ball down out of nowhere and turns inside out and scores a beautiful goal. He's just perfect.
Yeah, and I'm praying he doesn't go to Saudi Arabia, the best midfielder in the league, according to Rory and myself, because I agree with you, mate.
Do you?
Yeah, I now agree with you. Everything you just said is 1,000,000% agree.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Oh, this was fun.
It was very fun.